2 weeks after the battle, the Iron Resolve sailed through space toward the Karathi Coalition's home system. The ship was crowded now, filled with aliens from 12 different worlds. But nobody complained about the tight quarters. They were alive, and that was enough. In the medical bay, Dr. Yang and Dr. Nala worked side by side, treating the last of the wounded from both ships. The two doctors had become close friends, sharing knowledge that would help both their species for years to come. "Your medicine is amazing," Dr. Nala said, as she watched Yang treat a Vrix engineer's burns with human biogel. "It adapts to any biology." "Your surgical techniques are better than ours," Yang replied. "Six-armed surgery is much more precise than what we can do with just 2 hands." They had been sharing medical knowledge for days. Yang was learning how to treat 12 different alien species. Nala was learning how human medicine could be adapted to work on anyone. Together, they were creating something new, the first interspecies medical handbook. In the engineering section, Park and Kira had become partners in science. They spent hours discussing the differences between human and alien technology. Park's practical engineering approach combined with Kira's theoretical knowledge was producing ideas that neither could have created alone. "Your quantum drives are beautiful," Park said as they studied Kira's blueprints. "Much more elegant than our fusion engines." "But your fusion engines are more reliable," Kira replied. "They don't break down when they encounter unknown energy fields." "What if we combined them?" Park suggested. "Quantum efficiency with fusion reliability?" Kira's eyes lit up with excitement. A hybrid drive system. It could work. They began sketching designs for ships that could travel farther and faster than anything either species had built before. On the bridge, Captain Lee stood with Commander Thex, watching the stars grow brighter as they approached the Coalition system. Both commanders had learned much from each other during their journey together. "I still don't understand," Commander Thex said. "Why did you risk everything for strangers?" Captain Lee thought for a moment before answering. "My grandfather once told me something. He said that strangers are just friends you haven't met yet. And you believe that? I've seen it proven today. Look around this ship. 2 weeks ago we were strangers. Now we're family." Commander Thex looked around the bridge where human and alien crew members worked together at every station. Lieutenant Kim was teaching a young Keth how to operate the communication systems. A Talon warrior was learning human combat techniques from Sergeant Cho. Everywhere he looked, people were sharing knowledge and friendship. "Your species is remarkable," Commander Thex said. "Most civilizations take centuries to learn to work together. You do it in days." "Maybe that's because we're still young," Captain Lee replied. "We haven't learned to be suspicious yet." As they talked, an important message arrived from the Coalition government. Ambassador Kess, the elderly Velthari diplomat who had been rescued from the stellar wind, brought the news to the bridge. "Captain Lee," she said with excitement in her voice, "the Coalition Council wants to meet with you." "They're calling an emergency session. Are we in trouble?" Captain Lee asked. Ambassador Kess smiled. "Quite the opposite. What you did out there has caused quite a stir. Nobody has ever heard of a military ship risking itself to save strangers without asking for payment or territory. We didn't do it for payment. That's exactly what has everyone excited." The message from the Coalition was formal and impressive. It was signed by representatives from 47 different worlds. The translation that Lieutenant Kim provided made Captain Lee blink in surprise. "They want to invite humanity to join the Galactic Council," he read aloud. "As full members, immediately." Commander Thex was amazed. "Captain, do you understand what this means? Most species wait hundreds of years for an invitation to the Council. Some never get invited at all. Why are they inviting us so quickly?" Ambassador Kess answered with pride in her voice. "Because of what happened at the energy storm. Word has spread to every system. The story of humans who traveled across space to save strangers is being told on 47 worlds." She paused, looking at Captain Lee with respect. "You've changed something, Captain. For thousands of years, galactic politics has been about fear and self-interest. Everyone protects their own people and ignores everyone else's problems. But you showed us a different way. We just did what seemed right." "Exactly. And that's why everyone wants to meet humanity." As they entered the Coalition system, ships from dozens of worlds came to greet them. Not warships, but peaceful vessels filled with diplomats, scientists, and citizens who wanted to see the humans who had become heroes. The first ship to dock with the Iron Resolve carried the Coalition's highest officials. When they came aboard, they were surprised by what they found. Instead of proud conquerors, they met humble people who seemed embarrassed by all the attention. "Captain Lee," said the Coalition Prime Minister, a wise eldern with silver skin and ancient eyes, "your actions have inspired the entire galaxy. We would like to offer humanity a place among the stars as our equals and partners." "That's very kind," Captain Lee replied. "But you should know that we're still learning. We make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. But not everyone helps strangers in distress." The ceremonies that followed were grand and beautiful. Every species in the Coalition sent representatives to welcome humanity to the galactic community. There were speeches in dozens of languages, gifts from 47 worlds, and celebrations that lasted for days. But the best moment came when Dr. Yang and Dr. Nala announced their medical partnership. They had created the first interspecies medical exchange program, where doctors from different worlds would learn from each other. "Healing is universal," Dr. Yang said to the assembled diplomats. "Pain is the same whether you have 2 arms or 6. Kindness works the same in any language." Park and Kira announced their joint engineering project. They would design ships that could explore the galaxy faster and safer than ever before. Human and alien engineers would work together to push the boundaries of what was possible. "When we combine our knowledge," Kira explained, "we become more than the sum of our parts. We become something new." Sergeant Cho was offered a position training Coalition security forces in human combat techniques. But more importantly, he was asked to teach them about human values, protecting the innocent, never abandoning friends, and standing up to bullies. "Fighting is easy," Cho told his new students.
"Any species can learn to fight."
"The hard part is knowing when to fight and when to show mercy." 6 months later, Captain Lee stood on the bridge of a new ship. It was still called the Iron Resolve, but it had been rebuilt with both human and alien technology. His crew was now mixed, humans and aliens working together as equals. Lieutenant Kim had become an expert in 47 alien languages. She served as the ship's cultural liaison, helping different species understand each other. Dr. Yang ran the medical bay with Dr. Nala as her partner. They had saved hundreds of lives and taught dozens of doctors the value of cooperation. Park served as chief engineer alongside Kira as chief science officer. Their hybrid engines could travel faster than any ship in the galaxy, and their designs were being copied by shipyards on a dozen worlds. Sergeant Cho commanded a mixed unit of human and alien Marines. They were the first interspecies military unit in galactic history, and they specialized in rescue operations. The Iron Resolve had a new mission now. Instead of patrolling human space, they explored the galaxy as ambassadors and protectors. Wherever they went, they carried a simple message. People should help each other, no matter what species they belonged to, and everywhere they went, that message was welcomed. One day, as they traveled between star systems, Commander Thex asked Captain Lee a question. "Do you ever regret what happened at the energy storm? Your life was simpler before you met us." Captain Lee looked out at the stars, where human and alien ships traveled together in peace. "Regret saving 847 lives? Regret making friends with people from 12 different worlds? Regret helping to bring the galaxy together?" He smiled and shook his head. "No, Commander, I don't regret any of it, even though it changed everything, especially because it changed everything." In the distance, a star began to shine brighter. It was a young star full of energy and potential, just like humanity's place in the galaxy, new, bright, and full of promise. The universe was vast and often dangerous, but now it was also filled with friendship, cooperation, and hope. And that, Captain Lee thought, was the best kind of change possible. The unknown ship was massive. When it came close enough to see clearly, even the brave Talon warriors stepped back from the windows. The ship looked like it was built for war. Its dark metal hull was covered with weapon ports and armor plating. Strange symbols were painted on its side in white letters that none of them could read. "It's a warship," whispered Commander Thex. His 4 hands were shaking as he held onto his chair. "We're going to die." But the warship didn't fire. Instead, it moved carefully alongside the stellar wind, matching their slow drift through space. Lights blinked on its hull in patterns that looked almost like someone was trying to talk. Inside the warship, Captain Lee Dongyun stood on his bridge and stared at the broken alien ship. He was a tall man with dark hair and kind eyes. His uniform was clean and pressed even though his ship had been traveling in deep space for months. "How many life signs?" he asked. Lieutenant Kim Soman looked up from her station. She was young and smart with quick fingers that danced over her controls. "Over 800, sir. Multiple species. Their life support is failing. Time until complete failure? Maybe a week. Maybe less." Captain Lee didn't hesitate. "Signal the engine room. Tell Chief Park we're going to help them. Signal the medical bay. Tell Dr. Yang to prepare for multiple alien patients." "Sir," said his weapons officer carefully, "we don't know anything about these people. They could be dangerous." Captain Lee looked at the broken ship again. Through its windows he could see faces pressed against the glass. Some had blue skin, some had green skin, some had fur or scales. All of them looked scared and desperate. "They're dying," he said simply. "We help people who are dying." On the stellar wind, Kira was trying to understand the light patterns from the warship. "They're using mathematical sequences," she told the others. "Prime numbers, then geometric progressions. They're trying to show us they're intelligent." "Can you talk back?" asked Dr. Nala. "I'm trying." Kira worked with their broken communication system, sending back simple number patterns. Lieutenant Kim Soman saw the alien response on her screen and smiled. "They're answering, Captain. They understand mathematics. Good, keep working on it. I want to be able to talk to them properly." Chief Engineer Park Jinwoo came to the bridge. He was a stocky man with grease on his hands and solutions in his head. "Captain, I've been scanning their ship. Their main power core is completely dead. Their life support is running on emergency batteries that won't last much longer. Can we help them? We can try. But sir, we don't know anything about their technology. It might not be compatible with ours." Captain Lee thought for a moment. "How long to get our portable life support units ready?" 20 minutes, do it. And prepare the rescue shuttles." Back on the alien ship, Kira had managed to establish basic communication. Simple concepts at first, numbers, directions, then more complex ideas. The alien signals were coming clearer now. Kim Soman had figured out how to send pictures through their communication link. The first picture she sent was of a human face, her own face, smiling and holding up a hand in greeting. When the aliens saw the picture, they were amazed. Commander Thex had never seen a human before. The creature looked strange but not frightening. It had only 2 arms and no scales or fur. Its skin was pale and smooth. But its eyes looked kind. "They call themselves humans," Kira reported. "Their ship is called Iron Resolve. They want to know if we need help." Dr. Nala almost cried with relief. "Tell them yes. Tell them we need help very much." The human response came quickly. Pictures of humans in spacesuits. Pictures of human medical equipment. Pictures that seemed to say, "We are coming to help you." 20 minutes later, the first human shuttle arrived at the stellar wind. It docked carefully with their main airlock. When the door opened, 3 humans in spacesuits floated inside. The first human took off his helmet. He had a young face and careful eyes. "I am Park Jinwoo," he said in perfect, clear words. "We are here to help." Kira stared at him.
How do you know our language?
Park smiled. "Our communication officer is very smart. She learned fast." He looked around at the damaged ship. "We need to move quickly. Your power systems are failing." Behind Park came 2 other humans. One carried medical equipment. The other carried some kind of technical scanner. They moved with purpose and confidence like they had done this many times before. Dr. Nala approached the human medic. "I am Dr. Nala. I take care of the sick people on this ship." The human medic was a woman with gentle hands and a serious face. "I am Dr. Yang Minji. Show me your patients. We will help them together." As the humans spread through the ship, the aliens watched in amazement. These creatures didn't ask questions about politics or money. They didn't want to know which planet the aliens came from or what government they served. They just started helping. Park worked with Kira to understand their power systems. Dr. Yang worked with Dr. Nala to treat the sickest crew members. The third human, Sergeant Cho Hyunwoo, helped organize the evacuation of the most vulnerable aliens. "Why are you helping us?" Commander Thex asked Captain Lee over the communication link. Captain Lee's face appeared on their main screen. He looked confused by the question. "Because you need help," he said. "That's what people do. But we are strangers. You don't know us, that doesn't matter." Commander Thex had been in space for 40 years. He had met many species and many governments. Everyone always wanted something in return for help. Everyone always asked what they would get for their kindness. But these humans just helped. They shared their food, their medicine, their time. They worked alongside aliens like they had been friends for years. As the hours passed, more human shuttles arrived. The humans brought portable power generators, medical supplies, and hope. For the first time in 3 months, the lights on the stellar wind burned bright and steady, and for the first time in 3 months, 847 beings from 12 worlds began to believe they might actually survive. The research ship Stellar Wind floated dead in space like a broken toy. Its lights flickered weakly, and inside, 847 beings from 12 different worlds were slowly dying. Kira Veltani pressed her blue-scaled hand against the cold metal wall of the science lab. The ship's engines had been silent for 3 months now. 3 months since they had flown too close to that strange energy storm in the Kepler void. The storm had looked beautiful from far away, with colors that danced like living rainbows. But when they got close to study it, everything went wrong. The energy storm had hit their ship like an invisible hammer. First, the main engines died. Then the backup power failed. The navigation computers crashed. Even the simple air recyclers stopped working properly. Now they were drifting in empty space, far from any star system, far from any help. "How much food do we have left?" asked Commander Thex Mordan. He was a tall, gray-skinned Karathi with 4 arms and tired eyes. Once he had been proud to command this ship full of the best scientists from many worlds. Now he just looked old and scared. Dr. Nala Quinseth looked up from her medical reports. She was small and green with large eyes that could see in the dark. "Maybe 2 weeks if we cut the portions again," she said quietly. "But people are already too weak. Some of the older crew members won't last that long." Kira turned away from the wall. As chief science officer, she had been trying to fix their problems for months. But every solution led to a new problem. "The distress beacon is ready," she said. "But I need to tell you something important before we use it." Commander Thex and Dr. Nala looked at her with hope in their eyes. They thought the beacon would save them. "I found a problem with our beacon," Kira continued. "It sends signals on the old emergency frequencies. Those frequencies haven't been used by rescue ships for 50 years. "Then who uses them now?" asked Commander Thex. Kira took a deep breath. "Pirates, scavenger fleets, people who hunt for broken ships to rob." The room became very quiet. Outside the small window, the stars looked cold and far away. Dr. Nala sat down heavily in her chair. "So if we call for help, we might just be calling for people who want to hurt us?" "Yes," said Kira. "Maybe." Commander Thex walked to the window and stared out at the darkness. His 4 hands were clenched into fists. "What are our choices? We can turn on the beacon and hope real rescue ships hear it before the pirates do," said Kira. "Or we can try to fix the ship ourselves. Or we can—" She stopped talking. "Or we can wait to die," finished Dr. Nala. Nobody wanted to say it, but they all knew it was true. The ship was too badly damaged. They had tried everything. They had taken apart every machine they could spare. They had even tried to make new parts from the metal walls. Nothing worked. "I vote for the beacon," said Dr. Nala. "I'd rather fight pirates than just give up." Commander Thex nodded slowly. "Kira?" Kira thought about all the people on the ship. There were wise Eldrin philosophers with their silver skin and ancient knowledge. There were young Vrix engineers with 6 arms and curious minds. There were fierce Talon warriors with their red fur and sharp teeth. There were gentle Keth musicians who could sing in colors. All of them were dying because they had wanted to learn something new about the universe. "I agree," she said. "We use the beacon." Commander Thex was about to give the order when the ship's old alarm system started beeping. It was a weak, tired sound, but it made everyone freeze. "What is that?" asked Dr. Nala. Kira ran to the sensor station. The screen was cracked and hard to read, but she could see something moving out there in the darkness. "There's a ship," she said. Her voice was shaking with excitement and fear. "A big ship. It's moving very fast. Toward us?" asked Commander Thex. "Yes, it will be here in less than an hour." Dr. Nala felt hope and terror fighting in her chest. "Did we send the beacon signal yet?" "No," said Kira. "We never turned it on. That made everyone stop and think. If they hadn't called for help, why was a ship coming to them? Had someone else seen them? Was it a rescue ship that just happened to be nearby? Or was it something worse?" Can you tell what kind of ship it is? Asked Commander Thex. Kira worked with the broken sensors, trying to get more information. It's huge. Much bigger than us. The shape is strange. I've never seen anything like it. Is it from any of our worlds?
No, the design is completely different. Dr. Nala felt cold fear in her stomach.
Could it be the pirates? I don't know, said Kira, but it's moving too fast. Pirates usually fly old, slow ships. This one is moving faster than anything I've ever seen. Commander Thex made a decision. Send a message to all decks. Tell everyone to prepare for contact with an unknown ship. We don't know if they're friendly or not. As the word spread through the ship, 847 beings held their breath. Some prayed to their gods. Some hugged their friends. Some just waited and watched the stars. The unknown ship was coming closer. Soon they would know if it brought salvation or destruction. Kira watched the sensors and tried not to hope too much. In her long life, she had learned that the universe was usually cruel to those who hoped. But as she watched the stranger's ship approach, she felt something she hadn't felt in months. She felt like maybe, just maybe, they might live to see another day. The stars kept spinning in their ancient dance, and somewhere in the darkness answers were coming at impossible speed. The 3 pirate ships came out of hiding like hungry wolves. They moved in formation, their weapons charging with deadly light. The lead ship opened communication channels, and Roth Varkesh's ugly face appeared on every screen. Attention, unknown warship. His voice was rough and cruel. You are interfering with our salvage operation. Leave now and we won't destroy you. Captain Lee stood on his bridge, calm and steady. His crew waited for orders, their hands ready on their controls. Open a channel, he said to Lieutenant Kim. Kim's fingers danced over her console. Channel open, sir. Captain Lee's face appeared on the pirate ship's screens. He looked directly at Roth with cold, determined eyes. This is Captain Lee Dong-Yoon of the Terran vessel Iron Resolve. These people are under our protection. Turn around and leave. Roth laughed, showing his sharp teeth. You have 1 ship, human. We have 3. Do the math. I did the math, Captain Lee replied. 3 ships full of cowards against 1 ship full of humans. I like our odds. Roth's laughter stopped. No one had ever talked to him like that and lived. You think you're brave, human? Let's see how brave you are when you're floating dead in space. The channel closed. The pirate ships spread out, preparing to attack from 3 directions at once. On the Iron Resolve, Chief Park worked frantically in the engine room. Captain, I can give you full power, but not for long. The engines are still running hot from our speed run to get here. How long? Captain Lee asked. Maybe 20 minutes at maximum power. That will have to be enough. In the medical bay, Dr. Yang finished preparing for casualties. The aliens who had been evacuated were safe in the protected center of the ship. But many humans would stay at their battle stations. Dr. Nala worked beside her, learning human emergency medicine as fast as she could. Are you scared? Dr. Nala asked. Terrified, Dr. Yang replied honestly. But that doesn't matter. People are counting on us. Sergeant Cho led a team of Marines to the docking bay where shuttles were still bringing aliens from the stellar wind. Keep the evacuation going, he told his men. No matter what happens out there, we keep saving people. On the damaged research ship, Kira and Park had finished their work. They had turned the ship's deep space scanners into weapons that could disrupt enemy shields. It wasn't much, but it might help. Will it be enough? Kira asked. It will have to be, Park replied. He looked at the alien scientist who had become his friend in just a few hours. Kira, if something happens to me, tell my family that I was helping people. That's what they would want to know. Nothing will happen to you, Kira said firmly. Humans don't die easily. I've learned that much today. The battle began when Roth's ship fired the first shot. A beam of red energy slashed across space toward the Iron Resolve. But Captain Lee had been waiting for it. Hard to port, he ordered. Return fire. The human warship moved like a dancer, spinning away from the pirate's beam and firing back with twice the power. The pirates had expected an easy fight against a single ship. They had not expected to face a vessel designed for war and crewed by people who refused to give up. Impossible, Roth snarled as his shields flickered under human firepower. How can one ship hit so hard? His weapons officer looked scared. Captain, their weapons are more advanced than anything I've seen, and they're firing faster than should be possible. What the pirates didn't understand was that human ships were built differently. Most galactic species built ships for exploration, trade, or simple piracy. Humans built ships to protect their friends and destroy their enemies. The second pirate ship tried to attack the Iron Resolve from behind while Captain Lee was fighting the first. But Lieutenant Kim had been watching their movement patterns. Captain, enemy ship approaching from astern. I see it. Engineering, I need everything you've got. The Iron Resolve suddenly accelerated, leaving the second pirate ship firing at empty space. Then the human ship turned in a tight circle and came back at both pirates from an angle they hadn't expected. What kind of maniacs are these humans? Roth shouted as human weapons tore through his shields. The third pirate ship tried to attack the defenseless Stellar Wind, thinking it would be an easy target. But they found Sergeant Cho's Marines waiting for them. You want to hurt innocent people? Cho said into his radio as the pirate shuttle approached the alien ship. You'll have to go through us first. The Marines had set up defensive positions throughout the Stellar Wind. When the pirates tried to board, they found humans with weapons and aliens with courage. The battle inside the research ship was fierce but short. The pirates had expected to find weak scientists. Instead, they found humans who fought like demons and aliens who refused to surrender. Back in space, Captain Lee was fighting two ships at once. The Iron Resolve was powerful, but even human engineering had limits. Sparks flew from damaged systems, and the lights flickered as power systems strained. Shields down to 30%, his weapons officer reported. Hull breach on Deck 7, came another voice. But Captain Lee didn't retreat. Instead, he did something that no pirate expected. He flew directly at Roth's ship, accelerating to ramming speed. He's insane, Roth's pilot screamed. He's going to ram us. Turn away, Roth ordered. Turn away now, but it was too late. The Iron Resolve slammed into the pirate ship at full speed. Both ships' shields collapsed in a shower of sparks and energy. The collision sent the pirate ship spinning out of control, its weapon systems offline. The human ship was damaged but still fighting. Captain Lee's bridge was filled with smoke, but his crew still worked at their stations. Status report, he called out. Forward shields are gone, Lieutenant Kim reported, blood running down her face from a cut on her forehead, but weapons are still online. Then we keep fighting. The second pirate ship fired everything it had at the damaged human vessel. Energy beams and missiles struck the Iron Resolve again and again. But the ship kept fighting back, its weapons never stopping. On the Stellar Wind, the battle against the boarding party was ending. Sergeant Cho's Marines had captured the pirates with help from some very angry Talon warriors who didn't like people threatening their friends. Cho to Captain Lee, the sergeant reported. Stellar Wind is secure. Pirates neutralized. Good work, Sergeant. How many casualties? 3 humans wounded, no aliens hurt. The aliens fought like heroes, sir. As the battle continued, something amazing happened. The aliens on both ships began to understand what they were seeing. These humans weren't just fighting for victory. They were fighting for the idea that innocent people should not be hurt by bullies. Commander Thex watched from the bridge of the Iron Resolve as Captain Lee refused to retreat, even when his ship was badly damaged. Why don't you run? He asked. You could escape. Save your own people. Captain Lee looked at him with surprise. Run? There are still people who need protecting. But you're outnumbered and damaged. That doesn't matter. What matters is doing what's right. In the end, it was Kira who ended the battle. The weapons she and Park had built from the Stellar Wind's scientific equipment finally came online. The modified scanners sent a pulse of energy that overloaded the pirates' navigation systems. The second pirate ship, blind and confused, collided with a piece of space debris and lost power. The third ship, seeing its allies defeated, turned and ran. Roth's ship was crippled and helpless. Captain Lee could have destroyed it easily. Instead, he opened a communication channel. This is Captain Lee. Surrender now and we'll take you prisoner. Keep fighting, and we'll finish what you started. Roth looked at his ruined ship and his defeated crew. He had been a pirate for 20 years, but he had never met anyone like these humans. They fought harder than anyone he had ever seen, but they offered mercy to defeated enemies. We surrender, he said quietly. As the weapons powered down and the battle ended, 847 aliens and 112 humans realized they had won something more than just a fight. They had won each other's respect and friendship. The evacuation began at dawn, ship time. Though there was no real dawn in the darkness of space, the humans had brought light with them. Portable generators hummed throughout the Stellar Wind, and for the first time in months, every corridor was bright and warm. Sergeant Cho Hyunwoo stood in the main cargo bay, directing the movement of aliens onto human shuttles. He was a big man with strong arms and a gentle voice. Despite his size, he was patient with the frightened families and careful with the injured. "Take your time," he told an elderly Eldern philosopher who moved slowly on his walking stick. "We're not leaving anyone behind." The old alien looked up at Cho with silver eyes full of gratitude. "In my 300 years, I have never seen such kindness from strangers." "You're not strangers anymore," Cho replied with a smile. "You're friends who need help." In the medical bay, Dr. Yang Minji worked alongside Dr. Nala to treat the sickest patients. The human doctor had brought medicines that worked on alien biology in ways that amazed Dr. Nala. "How do your medicines work on so many different species?" Dr. Nala asked as they treated a young Vrix engineer who had been sick for weeks. "We study life wherever we find it," Dr. Yang explained. "Human medicine is built to adapt. We believe all life is connected somehow." Dr. Nala watched as the human medicine slowly brought color back to the young engineer's face. "Your people are healers. We try to be." Meanwhile, in the engine room, Park Jinwoo and Kira worked together to understand why the stellar wind had failed so completely. Park's hands moved quickly over alien technology, while Kira explained how each system was supposed to work. "Your ship is very advanced," Park said, as he studied their quantum core. "More advanced than ours in many ways. But it couldn't survive the energy storm," Kira said sadly. "No, but that's not your fault. This storm was something new, something dangerous." Park looked at the damaged systems with respect. "Your people built this ship to explore and learn. That takes courage. And your people built yours to fight and protect. That takes courage too." As they worked, they began to understand each other. Kira learned that humans were still new to space travel. They had only been flying between stars for 300 years. But in that short time, they had built ships that could cross vast distances and help people in trouble. Park learned that the Karathi Coalition was thousands of years old. They had explored half the galaxy and made friends with dozens of species. But they had never met anyone quite like humans. "Your captain," Kira said as they reconnected a power coupling. "He didn't ask permission from anyone before helping us, did he?" Park laughed. "Captain Lee doesn't ask permission to do the right thing. That's why we follow him." On the bridge of the Iron Resolve, Captain Lee watched the evacuation through his monitors. His crew worked efficiently, bringing load after load of aliens to safety. Lieutenant Kim So-min had become an expert in alien languages, helping to calm scared families and answer questions. "Captain," said his navigation officer, "we're receiving a message from the Coalition border station. They want to know what we're doing in their space." Captain Lee frowned. "Tell them we're conducting a rescue operation. They say we don't have permission to be here. Tell them people were dying. That's all the permission I need." While the rescue continued, something was happening in the distance. 3 ships had detected the stellar wind's old distress beacon and were moving toward them. These ships were not like the clean, powerful Iron Resolve. They were ugly, patched together from stolen parts and painted with skull symbols. The lead ship was commanded by a pirate captain named Roth Varkesh. He was a cruel creature with black scales and yellow eyes. He had been raiding disabled ships for 20 years, and he was very good at it. "Look at this," Roth said to his crew as they approached. "A broken research ship full of soft scientists. And what's that big ship helping them?" His weapons officer checked their sensors. "Unknown design, Captain. Very heavily armed. I don't care how heavily armed they are. That research ship belongs to us now." The 3 pirate ships moved closer, hiding behind asteroids and debris. They planned to attack suddenly and take everything valuable before the warship could respond. But they didn't know they were dealing with humans. On the Iron Resolve, the sensors operator noticed the approaching ships immediately. "Captain, we have 3 vessels on long-range sensors. They're trying to stay hidden, but they're definitely moving toward us." Captain Lee studied the sensor data. The ships were old but well-armed. Their movement patterns were those of hunters, not rescuers. "Pirates?" "Most likely, sir." Captain Lee looked at his evacuation status. They had moved about half the aliens to safety, but hundreds were still aboard the damaged ship. "How long until evacuation is complete?" "At least 4 more hours, sir." "And how long until those ships get here?" 2 hours, Lieutenant Kim looked worried. "Sir, we could leave now." "Take the people we've already saved and go." Captain Lee looked at her like she had said something strange. "Leave? There are still people who need help." "But sir, we'll be outnumbered 3 to 1. Then we'll have to be 3 times as smart. On the stellar wind, Sergeant Cho was helping load another group of aliens onto a shuttle when Commander Thex approached him. "Sergeant," the Karathi commander said, "I need to tell you something. There are pirates coming. Your captain should take his ship and leave. You've already saved many of us." Cho looked at the commander with surprise. "Leave? Why would we leave?" "Because you'll be killed if you stay. Those pirates have 3 ships. You only have 1. Cho smiled and checked his weapon. "Commander, you don't understand. We're humans. We don't abandon people who need help. But you could die. Maybe. But the people still on your ship will definitely die if we leave." Commander Thex had never met anyone like these humans. In all his years of space travel, he had learned that most people helped others only when it was safe and profitable. But these humans seemed to help because it was right. "Are all humans like this?" he asked. "Pretty much," Cho replied. "It's just how we're made." As word spread through both ships that pirates were coming, something interesting happened. The aliens didn't panic. Instead, they worked harder to help with the evacuation. The humans didn't retreat. Instead, they prepared to fight. Dr. Yang and Dr. Nala worked together to set up a medical station that could treat both human and alien wounded. Park and Kira combined their knowledge to turn the Stellar Wind's scientific equipment into defensive weapons. Even the weakest aliens found ways to help. The Keth musicians used their color songs to calm frightened children. The Eldern philosophers shared their wisdom to help people stay brave. As the pirate ships came closer, 847 aliens and 112 humans prepared to stand together. None of them knew what would happen in the coming battle. But they all knew one thing: they would not abandon each other.